What's going on, family? Welcome to the latest installment of TSC Unleashed. That's right, TSC Unleashed, man. We cover all the latest boxing news, football news, basketball news, everything outside of the realm of Saint Talk, Pelican Talk. We in the building, man. Good to see all the family members on this beautiful Wednesday. Thank you for your support. I'm Big Q chiming in with you. I'm bringing my co-host, Uncle Mozzie's in the building. How you doing, Mozzie? Uncle Mozzie, are you with us? All right, we bring in Uncle Mozzie. Uncle Mozzie, you with us, sir?
Yes, I am. I'm here, live in a living color.
All right, here we go. All right, good to see you in there. All right,
You got my theme music, my picture, my Swami hat on, or my magic carpet, or my genie lamp. You gotta have one of them. You got any one of them for me?
No, I do not.
You saw my Celtics, right?
Yes, I did.
You saw my Celtics, my Nuggets, right?
I've seen the Nuggets as well, sir. The Nuggets.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to know, man. Look, I got it, man. Somebody got to pop me off with a. I got to give me a turban or a magic carpet or something, some magic beans or something, bro. Because I can't keep calling all this right. And like, I'm just not getting no props out here for this, man. I told y'all what it was gonna be. I told you Denver was gonna win that series. I didn't care what Utah was talking about. And I also told you that Boston was my dark horse team. Now they have 2-0 against the world defending Toronto Raptors. So how you like that? Somebody give me my Swami hat. I'm putting up my chair to the table.
Well, I gotta give Uncle Mozzie credit, man, because he nailed it, man. And this was a really interesting and fun series to watch the Jazz matchup. We're gonna start with it there. Because the Jazz, they man, what can I tell you, man? It was a close game. 80-78 was the final on a very low scoring game. Once again, you got to give credit to these young guards, man. They were just outstanding in the series. But sooner or later, one of them stars would have to burn out, and it was a better team performance altogether for Denver. They were able to make the necessary adjustments and come out with a very close 2-point win in Game 7. 80-78. It was a physical series, and it came down to them. But that's what basketball is supposed to be like. Series like these. Well, anyway, the Nuggets advancing and moving on to the next round of the NBA playoffs. 30 points was the top scorer by Jokic. He finished with 30 points. 14 rebounds for Jokic. 12 of 23 from the field, 2 of 5 from downtown, and 39 minutes of action. He wanted it, he got it. Jamal Murray finished with 17 points on the night. He struggled in 41 minutes, but still threw in 17 points, 10 off the bench from Michael Porter Jr. in 17 minutes of action. There were only several of the players, the ones just mentioned, were the only ones in double figures in this matchup. But they're going to Utah. What had occurred was not much. Donovan Mitchell came crashing back down to earth. 22 points from him. 9 of 22 on the field, 2 of 8 from the three-point line. He finished with 22 points, 9 rebounds in 43 minutes, and 19 points from Robert Gobert with 18 rebounds, so Gobert stepped up. The issue with them was there wasn't a competent scorer, a double-digit scorer in the starting lineup that could assist. Joe Ingles disappeared yet again. He had 17 points in 39 minutes. 3 of 10 from the field, 1 of 5 from downtown, 7 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Won't get it done, man. When you're making that kind of bread, you're making. Conley struggled in this game mightily too. He had 8 points in 40 minutes. 8 points. He was 2 of 13 from the field, 1 of 6 from downtown with 7 assists. And they really believed when they acquired Michael Conley that he would be the piece that helped take them further in the playoffs. Well, guess what? Wasn't meant to be today as the Utah Jazz stopped in Game 7. 80-78. So much credit got to be given to Uncle Mozzie, who said Denver's going to be my team to take it to the NBA Finals. So it's looking pretty good right now for Uncle Mozzie with his predictions with the Denver
Of
Nuggets.
course it is. You thought it wouldn't be anything different. I told you, I do this for bread and meat. I don't win, I don't eat. I told you that. You already know what it is with me, man. You know how I'm coming. The Celtics gonna represent the East. It'll be the Celtics up against either the Lakers or the Nuggets. Clippers finna be out of there. Clippers get out of there. Obviously, we know that Denver's gonna go ahead and beat the Lakers because they just it's a bad matchup for LA. So it is what it is. I'm looking for Denver and Boston right now, brother. That's where I'm leaning towards. I haven't made the official Swami announcement, but by Friday, I'm gonna go ahead on and etch that in stone and carve it out for you and let you know exactly who's gonna be there in the final day. But I'm really leaning towards Denver and Boston. It just really depends on Boston coming out the East. Period. Miami's gonna beat Giannis in 6, and then obviously we know Boston has zero fear of Miami at all. Crush them, kill them. And Miami's been the only bad matchup for Giannis all season long. So we already know like how that's gonna come out, which is one of the reasons I picked the Celtics in the beginning. Before everything started, I will remind everybody, before everybody was a Celtics fan, Uncle Mozzie was a Celtics fan. But go ahead, brother. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nah, I mean, it's well deserved. If you call it right, you get the credit, man. That's how it's supposed to be. And let's move into that breakdown of that game. The Celtics, they were able to get the win over Toronto. It was a pretty good game, 102-99, 3 points. And like I said, the Celtics are well coached, man. They're well coached, and their players know the system. They're equally offensively good as well as their defense. These are almost like a whole team of two-way players that can play well. They can play well offensively and then switch and then play well on the defensive side of the ball. Very balanced team, and they're showing it. They're up on the defending champion Toronto Raptors 2-0. And they're behind the great scoring of Jason Tatum. He had 34 points in 42 minutes, 8 of 17 from the field, 4 of 7 from downtown, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Jason Tatum's continued to be the man. 19 from Marcus Smart in 39 minutes of action, 16 from Jaylen Brown in 36 minutes of action. Yeah, Kemba Walker threw in 17 points as well on 6 of 8 shooting, 1 of 8 from downtown. Struggled a bit, didn't matter, and his teammates had his back. 11 off the bench from Williams, and they were able to get that 102. Now on the other side, Toronto's top guys were OG Anunoby. He finished with 20 points in the matchup, 38 minutes. 7 of 12, 4 of 6 from downtown, 20.7 rebounds from him. And outside of that, the guys that you need to score, Pascal Siakam in 43 minutes, 6 of 16 from the field, 1 of 4 from downtown, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists for him. He didn't carry the day. Maybe if he did, it might have had a better outcome. Marc Gasol, 6 points, 4 rebounds in the matchup. He fouled out in this game. 16 points from Kyle Lowry. 5 of 16, 0 of 7 from downtown. He just was a disaster despite his 16 points. But Fred VanVleet, who a guy that we've been looking forward to seeing, he was balling in the first series. He's kind of looking kind of ordinary in this one. 19 points from him and 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 8 of 22 from the field, 3 of 12 from downtown in 43 minutes of action, and 17 off the bench from Serge Ibaka. Finished with 17 and 9 and 27 minutes for Serge Ibaka, man. Let me tell you something. This is a really good series. Toronto has to beware, man. The Celtics is not one of those teams that have those mental lapses, which will allow you to get back. They're really disciplined. They focus. They know what they do. And this will be tough to come back on a team like Boston, who's that focused. Mazza, you want to comment on this before we get into our next stack of games?
Well, we could. You spoke pretty well on it. I think we can move forward to the game because they got a couple other things that I want to get to. Okay. In this broadcast, namely the trade that you say won't happen. Both of the trades that you say won't happen, and how everything is going to be is shaping up or setting up, especially going into the trade that could potentially happen with your man AK-47 or AK-41. So just go ahead and do what you got to do.
Okay,
and
so
we'll figure it out.
All right, so both of the
I got you. I've been waiting on this since yesterday, but got you. Go ahead.
You got to bring the receipts, brother. You got to bring the receipts, my brother. You know, you can't. Don't worry. You got only receipts here, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because anything that you might bring, if it ain't receipts, I'm shooting it down, bro. I got the fire. I'm gonna take you down every time, my brother. I'm gonna take you down. But anyway, we're gonna get to.
I got the receipt.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that. Let's get through the rest of the NBA talk, and then we're gonna cruise into your trade scenarios. Let's look at the Heat matchup. Of course, the Miami Heat are set to play tonight, September the 2nd. They got a game coming on. When is it set? game 2 this afternoon at 5:30 Central Time. So Heat and the Bucks. Heat are up 1-0. Does Giannis and Coach Bud and the rest of those guys come back and even the series against Spoelstra's Heat? What do you think?
Well, like I told you, the Heat was another one of my teams that I had already suspected that was going to beat the Bucks. So it was going to be a really bad matchup issue when it came to the Bucks. Largely led by the veteran leadership of Coach Spo and Jimmy Butler.
Right.
The man played with a passion I've never seen before. And he's been that way his whole career. And I think that the reason his career has been dwindling or hadn't evolved to what it's supposed to be is because he comes to play for business. He's not trying to get on Instagram. He don't care about endorsements. He wants to play basketball. He's an old school spirit, old school basketball player. And a lot of these role players, great value role players that's on the Bucks, they can't handle it. And then you got the divas like Giannis, the internet babies, the Instagram babies. He can't handle it. And the reason being is because Butler is really balanced. He's kind of in the middle. He don't really mess with none of the off-court issues. And as far as on the court, he's a hound. He's a dog. He's an assassin. He's Muhammad Ali dressed in Jimmy Butler clothing. So I'm looking for Jimmy Butler to have equally as big game too, and I'm looking for them to go up 2-0 tonight. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and make a really bold prediction. I'm going to go ahead and say 107-98 Miami.
Miami up 2-0 on the Bucks, says the Swami. This will be that we'll see, because something tells me Giannis is going to be extra motivated in this matchup to come through and make some things happen, man. And it's similar to what it's similar to like. But listen,
initiated, castrated, bring them on. We ain't tripping off none of that.
But that's the thing I'm referencing is the fact that remember what happened in the game 1 of the initial playoff series in the first series, where Orlando was able to steal a game away from them, but then the Bucks got pissed and reeled off 4 straight. Now, of course, Orlando's not on the same talent level or coaching level of a Miami Heat club, of course not. But I'm saying that when focused, when Middleton and had Giannis showed up a little bit like he usually would showed up and not given that 18 pedestrian points in the game 1, they would ultimately had secured that victory. But that shoulda, coulda, woulda. But the second game now, Giannis is going to be on par. He's going to be focused. We're going to see if Jimmy Butler, Iguodala, and the rest of them, Goran Dragic and the rest of them can slow him down. Coach Spoelstra's an excellent mind, but so is Coach Bud. So it's a duel of wills. We'll see what's going on. Let's move on to the next.
This will be easy kill shot. You ever played Call of Duty? Yes. Kill shot. That's what it's gonna be. Kill shot to the head.
Okay.
Kill shot with the big gun too. Boom, over with. Goodbye, Milwaukee.
Okay.
They're gonna be blowing. That's the same sound the GM gonna be doing.
I don't think that's gonna be I can't agree with you on that, Uncle Masa. I'm sorry. I don't think it's gonna be one of them situations where that's gonna happen.
Somebody in the comments go bloom for me, because that's what has been happening in Milwaukee. Bloom. They about to blow up. Bloom.
All right, let's move to the next series. Thunder and the Rockets. This is a Game 7 series, man. It's going to be another interesting Game 7 series, similar to what the Denver and Utah series was. Chris Paul simply willing this team, the OKC Thunder, into a Game 7 scenario. Westbrook is back. He had a meager 17 points in the last matchup. James Harden was scoring and doing his thing. What happens in this series? A very intriguing series. The Thunder was able to push them this far away. The Rockets had an opportunity to take them out, push them off, but the Thunder was able to find a way to stick in this thing. Who wins the final game of this series to move on to the second round?
Well, if you bench Westbrook, I mean, you get out this round intact and you can move on to the next round and try to save face and put some stuff back together as you go to play LA. Here's the long and the short of it. I think that they've allowed these people to develop a confidence that they haven't really been playing with all season. Chris Paul is playing with a vengeance. He feels he got cut. He feels he got ousted for no reason. He looks at it as an unnecessary move. I think the entire OKC team kind of wants to get back at Westbrook because he kind of wanted. It was muddy right before he and PG-13 kind of left, and that whole situation kind of blew up. And they were really working on reserves at the start of the season. Nobody expected them to even make the playoffs. So to be in this position, a viable Game 7 to go up against the Lake Show in the second round, I don't think anybody saw that coming. I know I didn't. And I think Houston should have eliminated these people early. I think Westbrook is a distraction. I don't think he's in basketball shape as of yet. I think that they seriously need to consider bringing him in very limited minutes, possibly have him come off the bench for Harden and just run one guard that rotate those two guards in, and try to let him work his way back into basketball shape. Because if he goes out there tonight and not in basketball shape, up against the OKC team that has all the confidence and a full head of steam, it's a really good chance that they'll lose tonight. So if it was me, I'm letting Westbrook work his way and play his way back into shape. Rotate him out maybe with Harden, have him come off the bench. I gotta put the egos to the side, and Westbrook has got to put his own ego to the side and realize, at this point, I might be hurting my team more than helping my team. There'll be other rounds if I concede and allow others to make the plays they made when I wasn't in the game and they were winning in this series. I think he has to check his ego, and if he can't do it, I think that it's going to be up to coaching and the rest of the staff to check that ego, have him come off the bench, have him work his way back in correctly, because even if they skirt out this round, they're going to need him going up against the Lake Show if they win. But if they rotate Westbrook in, they win the game. If they have Westbrook in from the start and Westbrook is still trying to struggle to find his groove, because remember, Westbrook is not a shooter. So unlike a lot of people like the KDs or LeBron, or when these people come off injuries, they could shoot their way back or shoot their way into the game, even if they can't do what they traditionally have been known to do, which is take it to the cup or be an above the rim player. They don't have to do that because they can shoot. Westbrook doesn't have that option. So if it's up to me, I'm bringing him off the bench, working him back into the starting lineup slowly, and getting him poised and ready to go up against the Lake Show in a few days when this series is over. If they don't do that, look for OKC to surge, and I'm looking for OKC to win this game. Either way, I'm thinking this game is decided by 5 points or less. But without Westbrook rotating in, I think it's going to be maybe 115, 108 Rockets. If Westbrook starts and they don't rotate him in and OKC surges, I think it'd be a little tighter game. But I think OKC skirts it out. I'm thinking 103-98 if Westbrook starts. I'm thinking 115 or 108 if Westbrook rotates or is in a really limited capacity or limited role tonight.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch, man, to see if Chris Paul have a little bit of revenge in his heart against the Houston Rockets. And that's what it's coming down to, man. He's simply willing this OKC Thunder team. A lot of people, like I keep saying, a lot of people didn't see the Thunder in this role in the playoffs, but Chris Paul has taken this team under his wing and have put them in a 7-game series with the Houston Rockets. So a lot of people before the playoffs said that this was not even that Houston would sweep them or beat them in 5. Not the case. We'll see what happens tonight, man. This is the primetime game that'll be happening tonight, 8 o'clock Central Time, man. So we'll be looking out for that one. See, but remember, anything could happen in Game 7, man. Anything. All right, Mozzie, we're gonna turn it over to you, man. And you said you have 2 trade scenarios news that you wanted to get into. Please proceed with it. Mozzie, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm sorry about that. Well, the first trade scenario I have is going to be with Leonard Fournette. As he off the waiver and other teams start to lay claim to him and make claims to him, I'm thinking again that we got to figure out a way to check Alvin Kamara, because I think he has entirely too much power at this point. He wants to be the $60 million back, but I think that the Saints are looking at it from the light or the terms of this is more system than you. I'm thinking they think they could just stick kind of any back that fits his kind of profile and his strengths and weaknesses back there in that system, and they'll flourish. Obviously, we have history under the Sean Payton regime showing, whether it be Reggie Bush or Mark Ingram as a late bloomer or Pierre Thomas. We've seen traditionally backs do really, really well. Darren Sproles do really well in the confines of this system. So I'm thinking the Saints are trying to get Kamara to pump his brakes just a bit and focus more on the team aspect of it rather than the selfishness aspect of it, because I'm thinking the Saints believe this is more, again, I'm thinking this is more system than player. Alvin Kamara obviously is thinking that it's more player than system, and I mean somebody's gonna have to beat somebody to be wrong. But when you got Leonard Fournette just sitting out there hanging in the balance, and I mean, everything is right there waiting for them. I'm thinking that they need to try to figure out something to do or bring somebody in to kind of formulate a good systems of checks and balances. Other than that, I don't see Alvin Kamara. I don't see a scenario where Alvin Kamara stays with the team. I think they're going to have to move him or trade him. I think that there's like 3 or 4 different rumors going around about exactly what's going on with him. Obviously, we know the first rumor that's going on with him is he just wants more money, and he and the Saints are at this point about $4 or $5 million off. It's the first rumor. Second rumor going around is that he's have some kind of back spasms, or there's something going on, and he had to get an epidural to kind of help ease the pain. So that's the second rumor going around. And the third rumor that I heard that was going around, which I mean I'm leaning toward this one as well, that he's just not happy playing in New Orleans, and he just wants out of New Orleans altogether. For whatever reason that is, I don't know. I mean, I think that he has a little disdain with the organization, considering they gave Taysom Hill all the money, and he's a backup quarterback. But again, quarterbacks are just going to be treated differently than wide receivers. I mean, in running backs. As a running back, I understand his perspective because this is his last contract. He's playing for his NFL career from a monetary standpoint at this point. And if he doesn't deliver on this contract or he can't come through, then I mean, boom, then that'll be over with. That'll be the wrap for him as a player in the NFL, because running backs just don't have that longevity like quarterbacks or receivers or tight ends or anybody else. So I mean, I understand his perspective as well. But when you got Christian McCaffrey making $16 million, and you bringing in you got other running backs, averaging 12 to 15 million. He feels he should be closer to the front of that pack, and he's aiming more towards the McCaffrey money. But when you look at McCaffrey, 99% of the Carolina Panthers offense is generated around him, as opposed to when you look at New Orleans, he just, Alvin Kamara is an accent piece to an already striving engine. So in looking at that, I got to try to see what I can do to bring Fournette in just as a system of checks and balances to Alvin Kamara. Hey, if this is this kind of game, we have this guy, and we'll replace you with this guy, and he'll be happy to do it. If not, then you're welcome to sign the contract at the $12 million. We get Leonard Fournette, a lunch and meat on toast kind of contract, $750,000, $800,000, maybe $1 million, heavily incentivized, and we, push forward to the championship. I think I told you yesterday that Michael Thomas at the 1, Emmanuel Sanders at the 2, have Alvin Kamara motion out split to 3 with Leonard Fournette in the backfield, Drew Brees in the center. That's an offense that's scary. I would not want to go up against that offense. I would not want to coordinate or plan against that offense. I think that if we had that, especially considering that we're a 2-year football team now, we got to make this happen in 2 years or less before Drew Brees decides to hang it up. I think we need to go with this move now. It's imperative that we go with this move now. And if we don't go with this move now, I'm going to be furious, because we can do it. We have the cap space for it. We can move a couple of players around for it, and we need to make it happen. And that's where I'm at with it. The first point.
Okay, all right. On the first point, that's a lot to unpack, but I'll do my best. Number one, Leonard Fournette cleared waivers. Not one person put a claim in him. That included the New Orleans Saints. I said that yesterday that the Saints wouldn't claim him because they have several backs on their team that his game mirrors, and the fact that Sean Payton is not even running backs on his active roster that average over 4.5 yards a carry. Dwayne Washington averages 5 yards a carry. He doesn't run those guys. Why doesn't he do it? A lot of people ask me, Q, why don't he utilize Latavius Murray? I think it's just easier for him to use Alvin Kamara. He don't have to use a complex mixture of packages like we customarily would do and move him in and out. I think at this point he's trying to simplify stuff for his game planning. So I think it's a terrible philosophy. I was against them using Kamara in the capacity they did early in the year, in which I'm on record saying that if they keep using him in that way, he'll get hurt because that's not what kind of running back he is. He does represent 70+% of the Saints offense. And McCaffrey does represent a larger portion of Carolina's offense because they suck. The majority, they don't have DJ Moore is really just coming into his own right. He had 87 catches for the team last year. Outside of that, everything else is in a state of flux. So they're heavily leaning on Christian McCaffrey because their team is not nearly as talented as the Saints. So that's why he represents more of their offense than Kamara does, because they didn't do their homework, they didn't draft correctly, they didn't add the right personnel pieces to make themselves a respectable, functional football organization. That's why the numbers of McCaffrey's 90% versus Kamara's, some say 75% of the Saints offense is where it is. Not a detriment to Kamara that he plays for a better championship, well-rounded, versatile team as New Orleans. So I consider that more of a plus than a minus. To go on the contract dispute, whether Kamara, I do not accept it, even though they're reporting it that he said he was in the building, that he didn't mix any practices. There's also reports indicating, I don't know if you noticed or not, that Alvin Kamara is being fined $200,000 for the team for absences, unexcused absences. You don't fine them for excused absences. And then the really funny part is he went to get a shot in his back, obviously not from team doctors, but from his own doctor. Why would you not let that be taken care of by the team? What's going on here? Why would you not want the team to take care of that situation? Why would you pay out of pocket for shots in your back when you can get it for free from the team? What's going on with that? So a lot, and then of course saying that he didn't miss any practices is absolutely asinine. The shot scenario is absolutely asinine. All of this stuff is asinine. There is no trade. There will be no trade. There will be no trade of Alvin Kamara. There won't be any. I heard what Duncan said about the Saints wanting a first-round draft pick for Kamara. That's absolutely nonsense. Kamara is worth more than just one first-round draft pick. You're going to say, just give me one pick. Everybody and their mama was calling the Saints yesterday asking, I got a first-round draft pick. I got a first-round draft pick. Everybody has a first-round draft pick to give the Saints for Alvin Kamara. The team, if it was credible, of course the Saints wouldn't trade Alvin Kamara for one stinking first-round draft pick. Another point I like to make is the fact that this was a bad idea for Mickey Loomis to choose to try to negotiate a contract with Alvin Kamara so close to the regular season. So close, because it was a stupid philosophy. I've been covering this for some time, like you know, and I was saying 6 months ago when Peyton was at the Super Bowl festivities and they asked him about contracts dealing with players, he said out of his own mouth on several interviews, go back and look it up, that he would have that conversation with Mickey Loomis, and that is a 4-day conversation whether or not to re-sign Alvin Kamara and several other players they weren't talking about. And I then replied and said 4 days, that's not even a 4-hour conversation to decide whether or not you're going to re-sign a player that represents 70 to 75% of the team's offense. He's not easily replaceable. If you trade him now and get a first-round draft pick, their scenario, you get nothing in return. And remember, this is a Super Bowl or bust year, which you need his production, you need him on the field to help the Saints get that Super Bowl next year. Anything after that is different, because we can't span until the following year after this year to see what happens. Drew Brees wins the championship this year. He comes back to defend the crown, and it plays like the scenario when John Elway did it in the late 90s when he won his first Super Bowl and then defended it the next year, then retired on the back-to-back Super Bowls. That's the dream scenario for me as a New Orleans Saints fan, is that's how I would like this to play out. In order for you to have a Super Bowl roster and make an appearance, you have to have Alvin Kamara on your team. There is no way you could trade him or replace him and put somebody there that would then fill that role, because that's you got to put that on Peyton. He gave and delegated so much of the Saints offense to one player, which was asinine. If that player goes down, you lose a lot of that. So I'm saying that's why Latavius Murray should be acclimated, put more into the system sets, added into the short yardage plays, into the red zone, get him more involved in the offense. And if you want Kamara still on the field, you can slide him out to play wide receiver. You can do all this stuff. And then, of course, this is my final part on it. Then we can go to whatever other topic you want to talk about. Is the fact that Alvin Kamara is just not a running back. People keep calling him a running back. He's not just a running back. Guys like him and Christian McCaffrey are special type of backs. We're gonna have to come up for a different term to kind of separate these guys from the rest of the pack. These guys are phenomenal weapons is what they are. They can impact you at the running back position like a top 5 back. They can impact you at the wide receiver as a top 5 wide receiver. They also kick return, punt return. These guys are weapons. These specialized weapons don't deserve to be put amongst the rest of the so-called running backs. And these specialized weapons have their own value. And notice that Christian McCaffrey is making $16 million, but when Kamara comes along and says, okay, his money is going to be anywhere, it's not going to be $16 million. He knows that. The statistics indicate, based on what he's doing, as he showed the Mixon contract at $12 million. And Mixon's not nearly as productive as Alvin Kamara, but that money, that contract will look between $13 to $15 million. And according to various reports that are coming out today, is that cooler heads have prevailed and they're back to negotiating contract. Kamara will be back. Of course, he has that fine of $200,000. So ultimately, I see the deal getting done. I personally say that the contract will look like $13 million a year. Could be 13.5, but I say $13 million a year. You're looking at 3 years at about $40 million. And I say 3 years because you could throw a 4th year in that. Let's say 3 years with a team option for a 4th year. Anyway, to look at $13 million a year at about $40 million overall is what the contract could look like for Alvin Kamara. And that's fair enough. And they can move into the future with that. And people are like, okay, well, how are they going to function in the future? Don't worry about capnomics when you're dealing with the Saints. The Saints are constantly manipulating contracts. They're constantly taking money off of current deals to free up money on the existing cap. That's what they do. That's how they do. That's why the contracts are built in step increases. The first year costs you $1 million, $2 million. The next year it goes up to $7, $8 million. The third year it goes up at double digits, and then when it gets to that double digit year, the Saints then peel off and give $5 million to the player so they can flex $5 million on the active cap. Come on, we know how this game goes. The Saints are above it, and as long as they keep drafting and keep signing undrafted guys and developing the draft picks and undrafted guys into serious players on the team, whether they be stars or role players, we can keep this going. On to your next point, my friend.
All I heard the whole time you was talking was great value, Walmart brand. Let's keep it the cheapest shit. We can find.
You must have been listening because I didn't say any of that. I didn't say any of that. You must.
That's all I heard every time I talk. Keep developing talent and bringing the talent in. Like,
that's what I said toward the back end. What else did I say? I said a lot of stuff on top of that.
Yeah, you talked about Alvin Kamara not leaving. Listen, man, everybody is expendable. It's 2020. There's no more loyalty. And Alvin Kamara only represents 70% of the Saints' offense.
Only 70%?
Well, that's because he chooses to put him out there. It's not like you can't.
My man, back. Listen, that's asinine for you, Mozzie. That's asinine for you to say that. That he only represents 70% of all. Like, it's a bad thing. You out of 100% of the offense, you're gonna sit up here and tell me, oh, he only represents 70%. No. That's not my numbers. That's not my numbers.
Like you say, where are the receipts? We gotta see the receipt.
The receipt says that everybody know that you can go and you can Google the ratio of what Alvin Kamara represents to his team, and they'll show you. They have the numbers indicate 70%. Some say as much as 75%. So I'm being quite conservative in my ratio estimations dealing on Kamara percentages to the offense is. So I mean, you can actually look that up, and that's been reported by reputable sources of what he represents. That's how you know McCaffrey represents 90 and Kamara represents 70+% of the Saints offense. But you say that like that's a bad thing. The highest you can go on the spectrum is 100%. So listen, but I'm saying, I know you're not gonna let me make this point, but 100% is what you can do. You can't do no better than 100%. So if you represent 70% of 100%, that leaves 30%. I mean, so you're saying that like 70% is a small thing.
This is what I'm trying to tell you though, right? And everywhere I went to school, if I brought 70 home out of 100, it was a problem with me and my mom. Or
you
me
still
and my
passing,
dad.
brother.
That was a D. That was almost an F that I was bringing in. I just want to let you know that 70 out of 100 is a low D.
But that's the terrible school grading system, my brother. 70% in the football world is pretty good.
Okay, going into my second point, man. Why won't you let us be great, man, and get Ben Simmons, bro? I do not understand for the life of me why that is. So I'm gonna need you to explain to me a scenario in which Ben Simmons wouldn't make us that much stronger or that much of a title contender. That's what I'm gonna need you to do for me.
Well, I mean, I'm not stopping the Pelicans from being great. The reason why I'm saying that it doesn't happen is because the Philadelphia 76ers have went on record several times and have rebuffed any trade talk residing around their key and star point guard Ben Simmons. They believe in Ben Simmons. They believe in Joel Embiid. And they're saying that they can make these guys work together with the proper coach. Tyronn Lue interested in the Philadelphia 76ers job because the Philadelphia 76ers have Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. If they didn't have those guys, that wouldn't be his preferable destination. It would be more like the Pelicans or several other teams that are looking at Tyronn Lue, considered one of the top teams out there. Coaches out there. So it's not the fact that I want to stop the Pelicans from being great. I think, as the negotiations are ramping up to start to renegotiate Brandon Ingram's contract, I think that's a plus. As you have Zion Williamson locked in, you have Drew Holiday locked in, you get Brandon Ingram locked in, and all you have to do is the only thing you have to do is get the proper coach. So I'm rebuffing the Ben Simmons talk because there is no scenario of trading for Ben Simmons, no matter what these other little publications are writing about. There is no scenario because Philly themselves are saying that he's not on the trade block. So that's why I'm saying that it won't happen. You want to reply to that, Uncle Mozzie?
Well, again, I understand everything that you're saying about getting a coach in and bringing a coach in before you make a move. And
no. Did you get my initial point about why I said the Ben Simmons? Because you asked me why the Ben Simmons thing doesn't happen for the Pelicans, and I'm telling you that the Philadelphia 76ers and several reports are saying that he is not on a trade
right, we went over
block.
that already.
He's not okay. So that's why I'm saying it won't happen because they will not release him. Right? Okay. As long as you
right, but
okay, now go for what you know.
I happen to believe a little differently. I believe that it's come to that point in Philadelphia where it's like, okay, you got to pick out the Embiid or you got to pick out of Ben Simmons. And I'm thinking, in all my Swami wisdom, that Philadelphia is leaning more towards building a team around Embiid. And I think that with the rumored possible trade for Ben Simmons, I think that gives Philadelphia a lot more depth. I think it opens up the lane a lot more for Embiid to really score and really put together the offense that they want to put together. So I don't see a scenario where it's a bad thing. I think that they're getting perimeter shooting in Nico Melli and Riddick, and I think that they're getting a true point guard aspect. I think the only thing that you're losing in giving up Ben Simmons is that guard that'll just take you straight to the cup, go in and score. But you got Embiid for that, so you don't really need a guard that can do that. You need perimeter shooting and defense. Ben Simmons does give you defense, but his shot is awful. It's pathetic. So in understanding that, I see a scenario where the Ben Simmons trade would make sense for all the right reasons for both parties, as long as it was done correctly. And I think that the Pelicans are one of the few teams that could actually make that switch and make it happen seamlessly, where it wouldn't hurt the team or affect the team in a really big way, or they trade off a really big superstar for another really big superstar. Sort of like the Kyrie Irving and Isaiah Thomas trade. I don't even look at it as being something like that. I think it's like, okay, we got two players that play the exact same position. How can we bring some diversity onto the court and give us a better chance at winning when we have no perimeter shooting? So that means when we play Milwaukee Bucks and they got a Kyle Korver, or we play the Celtics and Marcus Smart puts up 19 points and goes bananas from 3-point line. I mean, what do we have to counteract that besides a big, tall guard that could take it to the cup and a bigger, taller center that's just clogging up the lane? You understand what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I am with it.
Well, I that makes sense. That makes sense. But but once again, this is still like talking fantasy basketball because, like I've said, they're not going to shake them up. And then various reports, Bleacher Report has a report out right now that if there was a move to shake up the core, the team is likely to move Joel Embiid before they move Ben Simmons. They see Ben Simmons as a key component in everything, and if they thinking to move anybody, likely or it'll probably be Joel Embiid, which speculation is moving around him, even though the team is holding close to both of these young players because they see them the future of their team. Everybody else is on the trade block, including Tobias Harris, Al Horford with those terrible contracts. All of those guys are still on the trade block, but they are holding close to both Embiid and Ben Simmons. So, I mean, take that as you will, Uncle Mozzie. I don't know what more to add to it, but you're absolutely right about Ben Simmons looking good with Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram. That would be a phenomenal force of young talent. That'll be the start of so many different dynasties. Right? It'll be ridiculous, man. But I don't think it's happening because I don't think Philly is going to move Ben Simmons. And like I said, you can Google this. This is the receipts. Bleacher Report saying if anybody's likely to be moved, it's Joel Embiid over Ben Simmons. Although the team wants both young players and they want to get the right coach to maximize both of them before they ultimately move forward. This is, maybe the last few years there. You might have these guys to see what they can do. They need to see success, and that's why Tyronn Lue's involved. So that's my take on it.
Well, we have to I seem to disagree with you, Richard, and we're going to have to agree to disagree, but I definitely think both of those things are possible. They're in the realm of comfortability.
How?
And I think if those things...
What facts have you have to determine that when I'm just saying that various reports saying that they're not on the block?
Okay, here's the thing. You initially said that Leonard Fournette would not last on a waiver wire and the Saints would not put in a claim for him. You were right about the Saints not putting a claim in for him. I think they didn't because I really believe they think in their mind, well, shit, somebody's definitely got a claim up there for him. But since they don't, the Saints can really go take him off right now off the street for $500,000. And I just think that it would be a travesty if we didn't do that. I know the Saints don't like to draft anything from LSU. I call it that. But like, man has no job right now. It's a 2,600-yard rushing back that's a really good pass blocker, really good at catching passes out of the backfield. 4'5", 40, 200 and almost 30 pounds. It has no job right now. It's incredible for me. I can't wrap my mind around it. So for him to not have a job or to be homeless alone with Alvin Kamara, and I think that Alvin Kamara not signing probably has a little something to do with it because we're so strapped for cash. But we got to make a move and offer this man at least $500,000, at least that $1 million, something. So I think more so yesterday than today, considering he got new offers and he's been off the trade wire almost 24 hours now with 0 offers, including the Steelers, who many people had touted him to go to. I think it's time to step up and come on, grab him and bring him on home.
Well, we'll see. I doubt it. I just don't see Sean Payton being proactive to go and grab Leonard Fournette, and I've stated that. I'm on the record for that. I just see it as the fact that he has 2 backs that run a north-south style similar to Leonard, and he doesn't even use those backs. So, I mean, if Leonard Fournette comes here with his attitude and the way he thinks, it won't be a good day. It'll be almost like an Adrian Peterson type scenario. Well, he'll demand to get in there. He won't be laid back like Latavius Murray and sit back and wait for his opportunity to get in there. 4 or 5 games. He won't be patient like that. Leonard's going to want to play, and that's problematic for Sean Payton, who got rid of Nigel Bradham allegedly for asking for more reps. So how you feel about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, I'm gonna have to disagree with you because we did have the Adrian Peterson experiment. I mean, we did have a couple of experiments under the Sean Payton regime that flopped and failed. We had the Jeremy Shockey. I mean, don't act like this guy has not been synonymous with bringing in talent that nobody else wanted to deal with. We even worked out what's his face at the end of last season before last. Well, we brought in oh God, I'm getting old, man. We brought from the Cowboys who did we bring the Cowboys to work out with as the receiver?
Dez Bryant.
We even brought him in. I mean, so we're synonymous with bringing in headaches or people that other people don't want and kind of rearrange or make the talent to fit kind of what we got going on. You remember Jonathan Vilma was a head case in Miami, and he got caught up in a scandal there, and The Jets kind of wanted to be away from him, and we picked him up and won a Super Bowl with him. So don't act like we don't have this Bill Belichick-ish type aura around us where we could take a player like that, especially one that somebody's tossed into the trash, and dust him off and clean him up and make him look a lot better and make it happen. Don't act like we're not synonymous for doing that. I think the Saints in New England have probably been the two best teams, Baltimore as well, the top three teams I've seen over the last 10, 12, 15 years that have been able to take reject players or deadbeat players and turn them into something, dust the coal out their eye, and revive them and bring them back to life. i.e. Drew Brees, i.e. Jonathan Vilma, i.e. Jeremy Shockey. I mean, we've done this in the past before. So what makes you think we couldn't or wouldn't do that again with this guy? We don't have to put forth a whole lot of effort. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of work. All we got to basically do is make the phone call and shout out the bread, which don't have to be a whole lot of money.
I just don't see it. Currently, how Sean Payton's mindset is for the team, and yeah, you're right. We did bring in guys like Des Bryant and Brandon Marshall, but it's timing's everything. Based on when they were bringing this guy in here, it was deep in the season, and they needed some help at the wide receiver position. Right now, we at the start of the regular season. Running back position is not seen as a position of need right now, with Ty Montgomery showing up in camp. Latavius Murray's looking pretty deuce, and Tony Jones Jr. is balling. Leonard Fournette is not a commodity that the Saints are interested in, even though I would love to have Leonard Fournette on this team. But I just don't think the brass is looking at Leonard Fournette. They had an opportunity to claim him and get him and pay him $14.7 for 1 year. They could have added him with the Super Bowl team that Saints is building, and then after this year, they could have let him go with several other players just to have him there. Saints didn't see a need for him. So did the entire NFL didn't see a need for him. The cold-blooded part is, if Leonard, being that said, and the Saints didn't see a role for him, perhaps what if a team like Tampa Bay steps in there, or a team like the Carolina Panthers or an Atlanta Falcon Club then sign Leonard Fournette and bring him to the NFC South to run against you? Another weapon
you see
against
what I'm
you.
saying?
So I mean but Sean Payton doesn't see it. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about the fact that you're losing Everson Griffin for $6 million to rival Cowboys. He doesn't care about the fact that the Minnesota Vikings got Yannick Ngakoue from the Jaguars for a second-round pick. He doesn't care that they're getting better. He doesn't care about the 49ers building up the depth chart. He doesn't care about a possibility of Leonard Fournette landing in Tampa Bay along with several other veteran players that have come along this past year. He doesn't care about that. All he is focused on is the Saints and getting great value people off the last several moves that we make, and that I can't possibly recount or rename several of the last players that we added on this team after Benny Fowler was here. So outside of that, I can't name the rest. McManus, Anthony Lanier II, and TJ whatever. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. I mean, this is where he's at. So I know it doesn't make much sense, but that's pretty much what it is. But anyway, I'd like to thank all you guys.
We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. That's what I'm saying. We'll see. We will know something about where Leonard Fournette lands probably really soon, man, because they're saying there's a few teams that's talking to him, and we'll see where this all ends. But I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on the latest installment of TSC Unleashed. That's right. We in the building, man. We in the building. Breaking down the NBA playoffs, NFL, Saint Talk, and a little boxing news and a few news and notes during the day. So join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Remember, TSC's Unleashed is every day, 1 o'clock. 105 actually on this channel, 1 hour at your dome. Please be notified, knowing that the sports coma will be later on tonight at 6 o'clock as well. And then proceeding after that is the Ring King Boxing World. So if you're a fight fan, flip on over to Ring King's Boxing World, subscribe, and listen to some really good boxing. We'll have key contributor Eddie, former professional boxer and key contributor on Ring King's Boxing, Eddie Two Mean Johnson, to join us like he does every Ring King Boxing episode. So thank y'all for joining me. I see most of y'all later on TSC Sports Coma later on as we recap the latest day on Saints news and notes. So appreciate y'all, and we'll see you later. Peace out.